Hi, Craig.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm calling about Muskrat Falls.
Yes, sir.
The millionaires from Muskrat. Funny you should bring that up now because actually it's part of what I'm calling about.
All right.
Peter Woodward, one of the group members, was on Labrador Morning here this morning on radio, and he was singing the praises of Muskrat Falls, and basically he was going along the same lines as Kathy Dunderdale, like her last statement about how, the mining company's got to have the power, and, there's no future in Labrador for industrially if Muskrat Falls doesn't go ahead. I mean, it's just hogwash. I mean, Randy, first they talked about, replacing Holyrood with this power and then sending it to Nova Scotia and the United States. And now, the mining industry, we're talking, 575 megawatts of power?
Yep.
That's going to be spread pretty thin, isn't it?
Yep.
What?
Those numbers don't make sense to me. If we're going to take 200 megawatts of that power and we're going to have it used and distributed in Nova Scotia, and then we're going to take 200 megawatts of that power plus and have it brought to Soldiers Pond to be used to replace Holyrood, there's only about 175 to 200 megawatts of power actually left for use in Labrador, and apparently that's a very small amount of available electricity for the mining industry.
Well, it seems like somebody's not very good at math.
Well, I'm waiting for someone to explain that math issue to me, because obviously that is so simplistic, what I just said, it must be wrong.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's hard for us to do the math, isn't it, when we don't have the numbers to start with?
Well, one argument would be, no. There's 575 megawatts of power. The power we're going to sell to Emera, the power that's going to go through Nova Scotia is, in actual fact, power that we have the right to recall when the mining community, let's say in Labrador, would need it.
Oh, I see.
The primary goal here is to connect to to make sure that we connect to the island so that we actually have cheaper power than would be provided by Holyrood. So then the question is, well, okay, how do you provide power then to Nova Scotia when you haul it back to take care of your mining demand? And I don't have an answer for that either, except somebody tells me the answer is, ready for this?
Yeah.
Holyrood.
Really? Wow. It just gets more bizarre all the time, doesn't it?
Well, maybe it's just that I think somebody is going to write a book about this when it's all said and done, about how to handle corporate and public communication. And I just think this has not been handled very well. I don't want to say it's not been professional. That's not fair of me. I'm not qualified to judge it at that level, but it doesn't seem to have been handled very well. It seems the target keeps shifting all the time.
It does, and it's almost becoming laughable. I mean, there's just so many twists and turns. It's almost like a soap opera. You don't know what's coming next.
Well, we do know one thing that's coming, right? There's a big bill coming, but there's also a big asset coming.
Yes.
And I have no problem with that, right? I have, as I've said 1,000 times, the argument that our light bills are going to go up because of Muskrat Falls is weak to be kind, right? Deceptive to be totally honest. The light bill's going up anyway. And so if you're going to tell me, would you like to spend this extra revenue on more oil for Holyrood or on building Muskrat, I'm going to say go build Muskrat. I'd rather have the asset.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you say the bill is going to go up anyway. That's based on projected fuel costs and et cetera. That's if we went that route. But there's another route.
Well, no, I believe in past history too. History is a great predictor of future outcomes, and when you look at the last 30 or 40 years, that energy costs, like all costs, will rise over time. I mean, we don't have now we can argue whether it's 30% or 40%.
Well, so the cost of living, I mean, every aspect of it is going to increase. It's been ever since God knows when.
Okay, so if we could do something for our children that says come 2020, we're going to have a source of energy providing power into the island of Newfoundland such that we can stabilize those rates for 100 years. Why wouldn't we do that?
But, Randy, we can do that without the huge expense that we're going to incur on this one.
I guess that's the debate, isn't it?
Yes, we can do it by put in the transmission line, buy the power at 5.2 cents from Quebec Hydro. I know that flies in the face of Kathy Dunderdale and Danny Williams. I mean,
but where does Quebec Hydro at this stage of the game get that power?
Well, apparently they have a huge surplus of power there as we speak. That's what I understood from what I heard on Pete Soucy's show. I heard somewhere in the vicinity of 5,000 megawatts. I don't know if that's true, but
no, that can't be true because Churchill only generates that. That's
it. No, but I mean they have more than Churchill Falls. They have all kinds of hydro.
Well, they've brought on additional power for the purpose of.
Just came
okay, all right. So if they've brought on all of this additional power and they can't sell it, that's a reason to be hesitant about Muskrat.
Exactly.
If that's the truth, I don't know that. I've never heard that till right now, till you're telling me this.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Interesting.
It is interesting, and this millionaire group, it's fine for them to tout Muskrat Falls. I mean, they're not worried about what their electric cost is going to be. It's the people on fixed income.
Is it fair for us, even now at this early stage, to reference this organization or unnamed or as this millionaire group like it's some kind of punishment? I heard somebody use the term already, apparently referring to them as the merchants. I mean, these are yes, they're wealthy people, but they also happen to have made their wealth primarily.
That's right.
In Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yes, I have nothing against them being wealthy or the way they obtain their wealth through hard work and whatever.
So is that a little bit of a put down when we?
I'm not. That wasn't my intention to put them down. My intention was to state that, the cost of electricity is not going to be an issue for them, but for the bulk of people in this province, it certainly is. There are people that can't afford electricity at today's rates. What's going to happen once it skyrockets, like it certainly will with Muskrat Falls?
Well, that's a challenge not for them. That's a challenge for governments.
It is.
All right, and if you look at it and say, okay, fine, prices are going to skyrocket, things are going to go up into the coffers. And again, I'm playing the card on the other side here. Yeah. I'm now speaking on behalf of your millionaires for Muskrat. Mm-hmm. Let's not forget something, right? Let's not forget the hundreds of thousands of hours of employment that you're going to generate, the taxes that you're going to generate, the businesses that are going to expand, the people that are going to be hired. There are millions of additional dollars going to flow into the coffers of the government to help offset any particular damage that might hit a vulnerable group.
Yeah, well,
that's a legitimate argument, isn't it?
It is, and that's the rosy side. But, Randy, there are other aspects,
that's
too.
the rosy side, okay.
You also have the environmental side and the social side. Those impacts. That's not. We're only talking economical.
But the environmental side has been taken care of, right? The environmental studies have been done. It has been approved by both.
Randy, the environmental side has been discarded. The study was done. I attended a lot of those hearings. I heard an awful lot of information. There were many pages of information released. The day it was released, Kathy Dunderdale came on the news and said she just read the report, and she basically discarded it. How could she possibly have read it? I mean, this was months and months and months of all kinds of information. It was impossible for her to have read it that quickly. Just after.
I gotta say though, Craig, it's getting very interesting now with the forces of the pro side and the con side coalescing, if you will.
It is.
And coming together to present their case. It's going to be pretty interesting. And, one of the biggest challenges to this right now, I think, is that's between me and you. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of questions I have, a lot. Yeah. Somebody's got to explain, what's this deal with Emera that they can opt out? What's that all about?
But Randy, do they have to explain? That's what scares me. What's this debate going to entail? They can't bring in witnesses, to the. And I know that you think that's a good thing, but I really don't think it is a good thing. I think they need to hear all the information they could possibly get on something that's going to affect us for such a long period of time and so drastically. And I don't see that happening in the format that they have now. If this debate is anything like a political debate, it's going to be a shouting match. And we deserve a lot more than that.
I got to end on that note, Craig. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, man, it's getting ever more challenging. But somebody's got to explain some of these. Maybe it's, elementary. I admit it. Some of these things are just elementary. Where's the power? Legitimate. Where's the power from Muskrat Falls for Nova Scotia? Where is it? Legit. Right? Where does that fit then? Oh, my.